What's up with it, y'all? Here we back with another one. I woke up, I went and found the smallest shirt in my drawer, and I put it on, and I said, let's get into this live, which is going to be, dang, man, let's get into this flies. Let's get into this live. I was seeing this video and it like kind of had me tripping out, this white race theory thing. I don't know, I kind of forgot who they said came up with it and and why they did I did, but I'm gonna let the video like kind of speak for itself and then I'll comment about it as we go in. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I hope everybody having a good day despite what's going on in the world, man. You got to keep your head up and keep it on the swivel, keep it on your shoulders, because yeah, the world is going crazy. It's been going crazy. This is what the world does, which is this is just what it does, and we here, and we're watching it happen. So as I set this video, let me set my thumbnails. Give me 1 second before we get started. And we got matter of fact, I'm gonna just dive in. I'm gonna just let it play, and then I'll do that on the side. So let's just get right into it. No, ain't no reason to holding it up.
Minority in anywhere or anything than my people, white people, and I don't understand it. It's watch this.
Yeah. Gotta throw some music on there, huh? Why replacement panic exposed the lie behind the white race.
You know what, Sarah Elizabeth? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, because we don't have to play games with you. We don't have to beat around the bush. You're just telling us like it is. You are a white supremacist and a Nazi who is openly speaking about eugenics and the need for you to have six, I guess not children, but repopulation efforts because you're worried about the white race going extinct. I appreciate that openness. I appreciate that willingness to be transparent because at least I know I don't even have to waste my time talking to you or any of your repopulation efforts or your husband or whoever. I just wish that our politicians would behave in the same way because we're still playing this ridiculous game of volleyball that never ends of like, you're a racist. No, I'm not. I have a black friend. Like, you know what I mean? It's like back and forth and back and forth. And it's ridiculous. So, you know what? If you are a Trump supporter, if you think what's going on in this country where people are kidnapping children and then sending them out to another state, never to see their parents again is a good thing. If you are good with people being pew-pewed in the middle of your street, just be more like Sarah Elizabeth. The girl is unafraid to say exactly what she is. A Nazi.
Yeah, I mean, at least she's open about it. But ew, the, the, the white race isn't going anywhere, folks. Humanity, our species, is getting browner, and it will continue to get browner. But there will always be pockets of people like you that feel this need to preserve some whiteness out there, just like there are going to be black people that feel some need to preserve some blackness, or people from this ethnic group or that ethnic group that are going to feel the need to preserve it. But as a species, we are all getting a little bit more down the line of the middle of the color spectrum than on either of the far sides. I've had people tell me things like when I talk about race relations, I've had people say, "What does it feel like to be a traitor to your race?"
Damn.
What race would that be? Well, you're white. Okay. But what race would that be? See, I'm white, but I'm also 27% Sicilian, according to my DNA results. I have a shit ton of bloodlines from Scotland and the UK generally.
Scotland.
But yeah, I'm also 27% Sicilian. Do you know the history of Sicily? I mean, if you knew the history of Sicily and you knew that I was 27% Sicilian, would you still put me in a classification as white? I mean, that's how I classify myself because that's how I present. That's what are you? I'm fucking white. But you're trying to preserve some white bloodline. You want to know what you're trying to preserve? The visuals of whiteness. Now, how many people on this planet are purely back to just this one line anymore? Okay, so you knocked out a shit ton of kids that are all white because you want to preserve the white race, and you think none of them are going to go off and have a partner that's not pure white. Nobody in that group's going to have a Hispanic or a Latino or an Asian or an African American partner. Nobody.
They'll brainwash them to do that,
Maybe
though.
not. Who knows? Then again, maybe. I, the white race is going extinct. No, it's not. You're fucking paranoid over nothing. Or is it that you're paranoid that you're going to be a minority and then people are going to treat you the way you treated them when they were the minority? Is that it?
That's something to think about. Is that the scary thing? Because like really when you look in history, there's a lot of different races that actually went extinct. And they didn't actually go extinct. They were integrated, and by other cultures, and they mixed. So, and then, the illusion of all these things also plays a big part in, like, when we know where the white race, where it was actually created from, it just kind of makes you laugh. This guy got these skulls and said, this skull is the most beautiful skull in the world. I'm going to call it white. It's called Cajun. Where it came from, the existence of it is just, man, the existence of a lot of these things, when you find out where they came from, it just kind of makes you laugh. It makes us look, kind of foolish at times. I ain't going to hold you.
In 1892, Ida B. Wells exposed how white men used a sickening fear of black men having children with white women as a twisted justification for the horrific lynchings of black people. Decades later, in 1916, Madison Grant's infamous book, The Passing of the Great Race, became a chilling blueprint for white supremacist ideology. Grant's twisted scientific racism proclaimed that Nordic whites were intellectually, culturally, and morally superior, portraying any intermixing with black people or other immigrants as an existential threat to the supposedly pure American stock. Grant's book fed into a misguided belief that democracy and racial homogeneity were at odds. Fast forward a century, and the alleged Buffalo Killer echoes this disdain for democracy, claiming it leads to the dreaded replacement. In fascist ideology, this fear of replacement fuels a toxic brew of nationalism and division. Domestic enemies are those who support democracy, immigration, and equality, and to these radicalized individuals, the mere existence of people who look, think, or behave differently is a threat to their imagined homogeneous nation. This irrational fear-mongering has tragic consequences. The alleged Buffalo Killer's manifesto espouses scientific racism, which is pseudoscience, mirroring Grant's twisted theories of Nordic superiority. For him, this hatred boils over into a senseless act of mass murder. White replacement theory, or WRT, is a deceptively fresh label for a dangerous ideology with deep roots in fascism. It's a propaganda machine that peddles the same poisonous lies of invasion, racial and political replacement, and fear of the other. This theory is not just harmless rhetoric, it's a dangerous justification for mass violence. By normalizing WRT, we risk destroying democracy and the ideals of human equality it embodies. It targets the very notion of shared humanity that forms the foundation of our society. WRT goes beyond mere bigotry, it's steeped in Eurocentrism. Despite the arbitrary nature of the European and non-European distinction, it elevates Europeans as superior, citing their inventions and innovations. But this misguided belief is rooted in a warped understanding of heritage, shaped by the racist concept of whiteness in America.
That's weird because, when you start seeing a lot of the ways that we were trained to think and the belief system and ideas that we have were made by idiots, bruh. They was just made by idiots, and nobody want to say it because they had a corrupt way of thinking.
Opponents of WRT ignore vast swaths of human history to construct a false narrative of white superiority at the expense of their own actual heritage. They boast about music and technological advances, but even a cursory glance at the world reveals innovation across countless cultures. This elaborate deception serves a sinister purpose: to trick poor white people into blindly supporting a ruling elite. WRT is a system of oppression that uses value hierarchies, dualism, and the logic of domination to maintain control. It also aligns with the feminist critiques of white supremacy as it intersects with patriarchy. I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, "It's not what you look like on the outside, it's what's on the inside that counts." It's a sentiment that echoes the timeless values of equality and tolerance. However, for some, the idea of inner worth isn't enough. Their concerns lie not in aesthetics, but in the foolish belief that their societal status, their culture, is somehow inherently linked to their genetics. They subscribe to this harmful ideology known as white supremacy, a worldview that persists in America despite its vile history. This belief is not an accident. It's a centuries-old construct designed to maintain a strict hierarchy: the ruling class, the warrior class, and the underclass. In this context of American chattel slavery, this hierarchy manifested as plantation owners, overseers, underemployed free whites, and enslaved black people. White supremacy seeks to perpetuate this stratification by keeping powerless white people in line. It exploits their fears and insecurities, convincing them that their well-being depends on the oppression of others. This distorted perspective has led to the mass incarceration of people of color and, in extreme cases, genocidal tendencies. WRT alleges that the white race is being replaced by immigrants and people of color. This fear-mongering tactic is a desperate attempt to galvanize support for the untouchable ruling class. It's all too evident in the contrasting ways that people of color and white people are treated by the justice system and the media. Scandals and crimes committed by white people are often swept under the rug or downplayed, while those involving people of color are met with swift and punitive consequences. The message is clear. White supremacy seeks to maintain an unchallenged power structure. It uses fear and division to control and oppress those it deems inferior. If you ever catch me bootlicking for the rich, hunt me down and slap the shit out of me.
I like that, bro. I like that. I ain't gonna hold you. Our young people, the young generation is just different in the way they see things, the way they trying to change things. A lot of us older folks, I ain't gonna lie, we be trying to keep things the certain way that we was taught to keep it. And, it's just diabolical that, a lot of us are brainwashed to the point to where we don't see these things, or we act like we don't want to understand what's going on or what's been happening.
Bruh, the white replacement theory is absolutely hilarious. I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh at it. Y'all so scared that we gonna outpopulate y'all in the America, right? Not even just black folks, but just other minority groups as well. Why you scared, bro? Why you scared? A lot of y'all own women don't even want to have y'all kids no more. Well, women not having kids in general. The national birth rate is down to like 1.7. Women are opting out of kids because men have ruined marriages. They not falling for the fairy tale no more. Y'all don't make the family dynamic and all that stuff great. So focus on your own group.
That is real, though, because it is a fairy tale, and we've been taught that fairy tale lie for a long time. The big house with the white picket fence and a couple of kids, and and everything will be great, a good job. Like, they've been feeding us the same lie forever, and we still try to make it happen. And then when it don't happen, like, we'll falsely show people that this is what's going on. This is, this is the life that I'm living. And it's like, no, behind closed doors, it's a whole lot of other boys going on within your house, and we know it.
Women, instead of focusing about everybody else, they the ones who don't want to have children no more in your own community. Focus on that. But y'all so scared that we gonna replace y'all. What type of fear is this, bruh? This is a white supremacist talking point at its finest, and that's what causes a whole lot of these school pew-pewings. You feel me?
Wow.
I'm just saying, they're going to replace us one day.
Same. How about you?
That type of rhetoric leads to unalivings, bro. My God. And even if we do outpopulate you over here in America, it ain't like we trying to attack y'all and actually like take y'all out or something. That be y'all who do hate crimes like that.
Thanks
So what the
for
heck are
liking
you
the
scared
video.
for, bro? Minority groups, black people and other minority groups, bro, just want to make their money and be left alone and live at peace. We don't want revenge. We don't want revenge. Okay? We're not a threat. The biggest threat to white people is white people, not black folks. Again, look at what happened to Charlie Kirk. Wasn't a black person, and wasn't a minority person. It wasn't
for liking the
no
video.
person of color, bro. It was a white boy. Focus on that, bro.
I always felt that about people in power. Like I got this thing that I call it it's like, you know, people have a God mentality, like to where if I can't control everything, what is, then I will just destroy it. People will rather destroy this place than to sit back and see it work for everybody. People will rather destroy each other and destroy everything. They will drop a bomb and blow the whole planet up than to see everybody equal and living in peace. It's like, no, I want control. I want to rule. I want things to be over here. Put this vase over there, hang that lamp over there. They want to be in control 100%. And if they can't have that control, then destroy it all. Just get rid of it. If I can't have it the way I want, then nobody can have it, period.
We do live in a global apartheid, and soon the United States will be in a... There is such a thing as white culture. It's called narcissism. That's what Western culture is narcissism. In narcissists, people with MPD, they're self-sabotaging. They have to colonize every space, and they end up fucking themselves over.
Exactly. Control.
You know, sometimes they get away with it for a long time, but it ends up catching up to them sooner or later, one way or another. Take slavery, for instance. You know, we got to be white supremacist colonizers, all-powerful white, spread the whiteness, preserve the whiteness at all costs, destroy. Are they going to destroy us, right? Yep, okay. And, you know, we bring black people here to North America to be slaves. You know, what do you think was going to happen? You know, now we're not so white anymore. And then we complain about it. The diversity, or, you know, it's capitalism is white supremacy, colonization, spread throughout the world. We bomb parts of the world. People migrate even quicker than they would have in the first place. Now people...
That's why I be saying, bro, you got to go watch the Vikings. I haven't got the one dragon movie my son was just telling me about. I forgot what that one called. The Game of Thrones or whatever. I ain't got to that. But watching the Vikings and how they took off, that Viking TV show, and how they took off and went to all these different places to conquer all these different places. And then as they're conquering the places, what's happening? They're integrating with the people that they are meeting. They are changing. They begin to change, and like they didn't, you know, they had their gods, Thor, and the different things that they had, and then they get over and then they tell them about the white Jesus. And they start taking on that. And then remember the guy Loki, he like, no, you know, like, we're taking on a whole nother belief system. Like we Vikings, we not gonna, like, our shit is dying off because we integrating with these people who we're going over warring with, trying to conquer. And it's like when that integration happens, that's when things start to change, not for just their side, but that side, for both sides. Because after a while, when they came back 10, 20 years later, you seen a whole Christian sect of Vikings that were living like the Christian people that they were conquering was living. And it's like, this is how it happens. It's weird because a lot of these certain TV shows, they show us, like it's showing you the story of how things happen. And some of it don't be true, but I'm just saying it's just weird, the integration.
Mingling more and mixing, and so whiteness, the white skin is going away quick. Someday the United States will be 90% plus people of color. We'll still have whiteness. We'll still have white supremacy culture in place. Yep, because there's white supremacy cultures in places of where it's, in many places where it's all people of color.
Let's switch over. Let's go switch over. The white people not gonna be white people no more. They gonna be people of color, and the people of color is gonna be white people. I'm just saying.
We'll still have whiteness. It just might not go by the color of the skin.
Exactly.
So U.S. will have a apartheid because at some point, the 90% plus of the country is going to be people of color, and the ruling class will still be pretty white. Our economic policies around the world, and say on South America, caused suffering for people. It ruins their culture, splits them up, makes them migrate, makes them come to try to cross the border into the United States to just make a living, survive, and then we complain about it after we caused it. This is what narcissists do. If you've ever been with someone with MPD, this is what they fucking do over and over and over. And now I've heard of this thing called white replacement theory. I heard it a while ago, but I never really looked into it and researched it too much, what it's supposed to be. But I guess I got just an idea of what it was. I mean, I kind of believe in it, but I think the phrase
have a white Jew as leader. What?
White replacement theory, white replacement. I think that's like narcissistic gaslight. As usual, narcissists will do that when defining the narrative. Narcissists will describe it with they'll exaggerate when they describe it so they can reframe the narrative.
Thanks for liking the
and
video.
Have control of the narrative. So it's not replacement, but humans migrate and intermingle, and genes get passed around. That's life on Earth, right? But of course, they got to call it replacement so they can gaslight everybody.
Hey, that's crazy because I don't even like to say this, but when I talk to my mom and she goes, "Well, we got a lot of different races in us," and it's like, wait, how? And then that's when you start hearing the stories of certain things that happen, in slavery, or with your family members, or with the ones who it was actually took from, that were slave women, and they made mulatto kids, and bro, this shit goes on and on and on, bro. It's like the door is constantly revolving.
But yeah, white people will be gone someday. I think no matter how much they try to keep trying to stop that from happening, maybe they'll just finally drop that nuclear bomb because they've always known that white people will no longer exist someday. White people have always known that since before Manifest Destiny. That's why they act this way. They know that African genes are more dominant than their white recessive genes. White people know that. You can have generation upon generation upon generation of white, milky Swiss people with red hair and freckles, and you throw one person of color in that mix, and their children will have brown skin, high cheekbones, nappy hair.
What the fuck?
Because that's the dominant genes.
Curly hair.
White people know this.
What are you saying?
and they're doing everything possible to survive instead of just looking into themselves, taking accountability, accepting. It's narcissism. It's narcissism, and it ends up self-sabotage. No, I'm not complaining.
Mixing genes
I'm
had
all
a better
for
outcome, anyways.
the intermingling of people migrating. But capitalism, narcissism has made it done in an unhealthy way. So sometimes, you might get some complaints from the narcissistic right, might be kind of legitimate. Maybe immigration is happening too much on like the border of some town in South America where it's making the quality of life not so good for both the migrants and the people living there. Maybe there's truth for it. But let's see the truth of why it happened. It's because white people are afraid of being replaced. They know they're going to be bye-bye. White people have been known to be like, well, if we can't have it, you people certainly ain't going to have it. Like narcissists. That's what narcissists do. White people might.
That's exactly what I said. If we can't have this world and we can't control it and run it, we will destroy it. That's how a lot of them think. It's like we will destroy this whole thing to where nobody can have it. Nobody can have. If I can't have it, nobody can.
They might actually drop that big nuclear bomb to just burn it all down, because if they can't have control of it, no one is. This is what narcissists do. They self-sabotage. So
that's that God complex I'll be talking about.
If they don't want you to have it, they'll burn the house down. They'll burn the house down even though it's part theirs. Just burn it all down because they certainly don't want you to have it. Yeah, but hopefully someday we will get to the point where we're all brown, because that's the normal, natural thing that should be happening. People don't like to talk about this. It's taboo because it's like eugenics or something, reverse racism. No, it's not. But brown genes are more dominant. Say it with me, white men. Say it with me. My white daughter will most likely be with a brown man someday. Say it with me. And let me just retract the statement now when I said that white people are trying to.
But I'm going to say it. Like, if you think about it, they did do this because when white men were sleeping with the slave girls, and they had kids, they called them mulattoes. They weren't white. They were mulatto. So it's like, what do you like? You play a part in your own downfall and then you complain about it. But you're doing it to yourself.
Survive. What I meant to say was they're just trying to keep that white skin. They're going to survive just fine. It's just their skin ain't going to be so white.
Exactly. So it ain't no replacement.
And wanting to hang on to traditions isn't necessarily such a bad thing. It is sad to see people's traditions just stripped away because of capitalism, whether it's European traditions, European American traditions, African Asian traditions. It is sad to see them just wiped away just like that by a bomb, by narcissist colonizers making people suffer, sucking the blood of the sufferers and exploiting people, making people starve.
But this is what they do. They go around the world and they strip people of their culture and give them the Jesus culture. They give them Christianity. They strip them of their culture and give them a new culture and say, okay, because you're living uncivilized, so I'm going to civilize you. Like I just seen Dakota of Earth. If a few people that's been on my channel, they know who that is because he's a psychedelic user. But he goes all around and he goes to these different jungles and stuff and meet people on the outskirts of where nobody really goes. And he went to this one place and he goes there and it's like no white people, no like at all, but they still have a church. And he's going, wait, y'all got y'all got a Christian church? They're like, oh yeah, colonialism, whatever they call it. They came over and they basically, they came and they brought this to us and we just kept it here. It became a part of our culture now. So all the things that they were doing, that, you know, as a people got kind of cut down, cut in half. Because once this comes in, it says that is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong, and then it changed the people. Now they're not who they are no more. But when it happens to the white people, it's a problem. But this is what they do. They go out to all these different places and they go change the structure of living of these other people that's out there. Like, it's the weirdest thing, man.
That's when it happens in a way, when change happens in a way that's just traumatic to people and to cultures.
Before Europe.
So it's white supremacy's fault, and they speed up the process in a toxic way.
I can believe that, but I'm going. Was it, you know, in Africa? Was Jesus white in Africa?
Traumatic way. So white people have been so afraid of being replaced that this is what they do. They decide to colonize, take power and control at all costs, drop bombs here, policies there, and then they just end up causing the thing that they're worried about. This is what narcissists do. You know, white people think, do it to them first because they're just going to do it to us. And they shoot themselves in the foot. And like I said, oh well, right? I mean, it's going to happen anyway. But let's just do it at a normal rate.
Corey Pete said, "Who knows better than the colonizers?"
Let's do it in a healthy way. Let's embrace it. Do live in a global.
Hi, I'm Kylie, and white conservatives are terrified of POC outnumbering us. And I truly believe this is the motivation behind a lot of hateful policies in the US. If you haven't heard of the Great Replacement Theory, it is that over time, if enough black and brown immigrants come to the US, as well as white people having children with POC, then over time, POC will outnumber white people. And the reason that this is so unsettling to a lot of white people, especially conservative white people, is that they are terrified that if POC become in power, then they will treat us like we've treated them in the past, which is obviously not great. It involves subjugation of people, enslavement, assault, violence of basically every kind. And I think that white people can feel the shift happening as they are becoming more and more outnumbered. And that is why they are clinging so tightly to power in Congress and with the president right now. And that's why it's so funny when white people deny that racism exists, because if they didn't think racism did exist, they wouldn't be scared of being outnumbered. But they understand the ways that we have treated people of color has been atrocious, and thus they are scared of the tables turning and of being in that position of subjugation. Hi, I'm Kylie.
Enough said. Enough said.
This is why mainstream media keeps screwing it up, because they don't want to have the real conversation. They don't want to call a thing a thing. They don't want to be honest about white America. They don't want to be, they don't want to put it out there on the table. So, well, we can sort of like dance around it and we can like, no. And I'm telling y'all, I've talked to these anchors, and it's like, and I said it in my book, White Fear, the problem with mainstream media is that these same white producers and these same white executives don't want to confront the reality. And so they want to come up with every other term, every other possible thing to describe it as opposed to what it is. The real thing is the Republican Party today is advancing an agenda of, oh my God, us white people are going to be out of power. And let's be real honest. There are black people who are saying, oh no, we're going to lose our power if these Latinos keep coming in here. We're losing our stuff, without realizing that 10% of the black population in America right now are black immigrants. And then if you also start breaking down a lot of the people who don't classify as black immigrants, they're actually one generation removed from being an immigrant. Oh, y'all want to see stupid? I'm going to show you stupid. That crazy ass, Ann Coulter. And again, this is how stupid these people are, y'all. Give me 1 second. Y'all about to trip out, okay? This is stupid. Ann Coulter actually posted this tweet, and boy, did she get nailed in the community notes. She got nailed big time. And again, I just want y'all to understand when we talk about these things, when I say one person removed, okay? So the person who sits here and wants to tell me about wants to tell me about, all your FBA people. Well, guess what? Shirley Chisholm, hello, Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, Eric Holder. Like, it's a whole, Westmore. It's a whole, I mean, my God. Go to New York City. What the hell do y'all think Jamaica Queens is? Why they call it that? It is unbelievable to me when I listen to these people who don't understand when you say that there's a lot of people here. So here's Ann Coulter. This dumbass tweets, that beautiful ending to Trump's SOTU address reminds me why we can't have a second, third, or fourth generation immigrant as president. Love for our country has to be in your genes. The reader context. President Trump is a second generation immigrant through his Scottish-born mother and a third generation immigrant through his German-born paternal grandparents.
What the fuck, bro? You can't. I'm telling you, you can't make this shit up these days. I'm gonna just say it again. The illusion is real. The illusion is real, and what the hell is going on, man?
White men and women, like, we just need to have an honest conversation, okay? What is this weird obsession with white superiority? It's so boring. It's so played out. The white women over here thinking that they're saviors, that we have saved the lives. Like they're warriors, like they're fighting for something. You have never fought for shit in your life. You're a warrior of an invisible man, okay? That is not heroism. You try to convince yourself you're doing something on the side from your MLM. That's you try to create a purpose where you have none because you're too busy serving white men. That's you being brainwashed by the fucking Bible, dude. That's programming. That's you not having a personality. That's you not having an education. The white men, oh, I need to spread my seed for future generations. I need to carry on my lineage. What the fuck do you care what goes on when you die? You can't spend money when you're dead. You can't be in power when you're dead. You can't see who's doing what with shit when you're dead. What do you care? Who is running the planet when you're gone? It's weird. It's weird. White people are going to be minority population by 2045. That's going to happen. Get over yourselves. White men and
we don't want to be demographically replaced in our own country, so the numbers are dropping rapid.
Oh, so you think white people are being replaced?
We are being replaced, yeah. I walk around Coventry City now, and I'm 38, right? The demographic change in that city centre, and again, no hate to individuals, but I walk around and I have a bit of a feeling about it, like, why is it changing so rapidly? Where's all the white people gone? We didn't ask for this, and that's not, and again, people do this thing where it's construing it, it's about hating others, hating you because you've got colour or whatnot. It's not about that. I feel like it's about us loving ourselves, getting our nation back and getting back in control, do you know what I mean?
So that would mean deporting people?
Deporting a lot of people that shouldn't really be here, yeah.
Today's motion
is about the Islam side of it.
It's about Islam specifically.
But I like to leave that to Speaker's Corner and not go too much into the Islam thing. It's very sensitive, do you know what I mean?
It is really sensitive, but I mean, by you being here today, what do you think of the motion?
From my opinion on Islam,
well, the motion specifically is the West right to be suspicious of Islam?
Well, yeah.
So what do you think of that?
Well, when you look at the International Security Service, say 7 to 9% of the world's Muslim population are extremists. Anti-West, 7 to 9%. 7 to 9% are extremist Muslims. So to all the moderate Muslims, they're International Security Services. From their research, that's what they believe, they estimate, right? Now, to all moderate Muslims, no hate to you, but you guys need to call out the extremism war. And we don't want to be the...
Wow. Come on now.
The Great Replacement Theory claims that there's a secret plan to exterminate the superior intelligent white people and slowly replace them with more docile populations from Asia and Africa. But the entire idea starts falling apart the moment you apply basic logic and history to it. Skin pigmentation has nothing to do with intelligence and everything to do with geography and adaptation to sunlight. Just because someone with a darker skin tone doesn't get sunburnt as easily as you do, doesn't make them less human or less intelligent. People also forget that white populations wouldn't even exist if groups of humans hadn't migrated out of Africa thousands of years ago. Modern humans originated in Africa before spreading across Europe and Asia and adapting to different climates over time. If anything, following the logic of replacement theory, maybe Africans should be worried about humans becoming whiter and whiter and losing their original appearance and culture over time. But then again, what even counts as white? Is it really just skin color? Not that long ago in America, Irish Americans, Italian Americans, and Polish Americans weren't fully considered white. Greek Americans were also viewed as outsiders for decades, while some Arab Americans were legally classified as white. The definition of whiteness has constantly changed depending on politics. One of the biggest fears pushed by the replacement theory is around Muslims, even though Muslims are not a race. Around the world, millions of Muslims identify as white. So the idea that white and Muslim are automatically opposites doesn't even make much sense. And if there really is some secret elite plan to replace white people, they're doing a pretty terrible job so far. White populations in Europe and North America are still growing, and they're bigger than before. I mean, other populations are growing as well, but still that doesn't mean that white people are going extinct. As for culture, like I said in my previous video as well, most immigrants, especially their children and grandchildren, tend to assimilate into the existing culture over time, while also adding parts of their own background to it. That's how cultures have always evolved. British culture today is not the same as it was 100 years ago. And it won't be the same 100 years from now either. There are valid conversations to be had about immigration, integration, and social cohesion, but turning demographic change into a theory about secret plans and racial extermination usually creates more fear than understanding.
Thanks for subscribing, Karen.
The great replace.
Thanks for subscribing.
White people used to be 30% of the world's population. Nowadays, they're 7%. Do you believe in the great replacement theory?
What is that?
It's where they're trying to exterminate the white race, for lack of a better word. Because white people used to be 30% of the world's population. Nowadays, they're 7%.
They're 7% now?
Yeah.
Like, so you're wondering if I think they should exterminate the white race?
Like, what do you think that's real? That people are trying to?
No, I don't. I don't think that'll ever happen.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think. I mean, I'm sure some races will, like smaller ones, will go extinct, but like, no, I don't think the white race will ever go extinct.
Do you think it's a problem if we become such a small percentage?
Oh no,
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think that was an issue.
Yeah, but then white people, like everybody wants to come live in white countries. Like Europe, America, founded by white people. Who's going to build these countries?
These people. Man, these fucking people. What the fuck? Hey, I don't even be wanting to say nothing because it's like, man, a lot of people is just idiots, okay? Period.
I honestly don't know, really.
The fuck?
Yeah, I'm not really the smartest on all this kind of stuff, but.
Fair enough. All right,
yeah.
Thanks, man. White people used
like, I'm living. I don't care. Do what you do. I mean, like, what? We down 80%, but we good. What?
Of White America. Video by Andre Cheek, something like that. He's Russian.
Young Don.
2041, the end of white America. White genocide, the great replacement theory. A lot of white people, Nick Fuentes, this is one of his talking points. A lot of white people, they're afraid.
Well,
they're
I
afraid
never
they're going
listened to him,
white.
so I
and
wouldn't know.
that's not happening at all.
Europe more cooler.
To a degree, it kind of is, but in the sense of like, you're not going extinct or anything. But let's dive into the video, man. Why are they so afraid of this? And who are they really angry at? Let's see.
So this is probably the most controversial video I'll ever make. It's about a topic that, depending on who you ask, is either a total racist conspiracy theory or something that's actually happening.
Okay.
Isn't the end of white America as we see the rise?
I like how he puts that. It's like either this is something that's actually happening or it's a racist conspiracy theory. Like, is there some truth to the idea that white people are becoming a smaller share of the total population in America? Yes. But is there a lot of truth to the fact that people have injected racist conspiracy theories into why that is happening? Yeah, that's definitely happened.
Rise of Hispanics, a good thing. Proof that America is a melting pot, that anybody can succeed here, no matter the color of your skin or your religion or whatever.
What is going to hold us together when we don't have a common religion, we don't have common beliefs about right and wrong and morality as we used to? We are at war over whether or not equality means equality of rights or equality of reward.
Now, there's a lot of names for it. Some people call it the end of white America or the replacement theory, which is the idea that white populations in Western nations are being replaced on purpose through immigration, low birth rates, and corporate policies.
That's bullshit. Nobody's trying to replace white people. We just need more people. Doesn't really matter who the people are, where they're coming from, in the sense of, I don't think the people in power that are opening and closing the gates are intentionally trying to keep white people out. It's just that white people, by and large, don't really want to come here. That's the reality of it. We need more people. And all the white people, they're good where they're at. Let's see. You got Canada white. You got UK white. You got, they're good. They're chilling. They're not struggling. And then the white people who do live in poorer regions, such as Eastern Europe and like Russia, for instance. Well, here's the thing. The primary way how people immigrate here is either through family or through employment. And truth is, a lot of these Eastern European countries, they don't speak English. And they have a completely different culture. They don't speak English. And a lot of them are also pretty impoverished and don't have that much family here. That's the sad reality of it. The well-off whites, though, who do speak English pretty well, they don't want to leave their countries to come here. They want to leave what? All the social safety nets and programs and the public transportation system. They can go all over their country without needing a fucking car, dude. You think they want to leave that to come here? Come on.
That was a good one.
Maybe the reason why really crazy white people are believing that white culture is being erased, and whenever they're asked what white culture is being erased, they can't even really tell you what it is because white culture at its core is just control. Controlling anyone and everything, especially those who aren't white. Telling people what their lives are supposed to look like so that it keeps white people comfortable. Even if it harms others, as long as white people are comfortable.
Man,
that's white culture. It's white control. So when the world starts to...
What are you doing in my neighborhood? Why are you on the block? Why are you sitting at Burger King just eating a cheeseburger in your car? Why are you in this park barbecuing? They're not supposed to barbecue at this park.
look more equal.
Oh my God.
And white people that never left their spot start to see other people that they've oppressed this entire time begin to rise up and have their own voice and their own place in the world rightfully. Start to gain something. It feels like the white people are losing something. But all they're losing is control. That's it. They're not losing anything other than control over all the people that they've oppressed this entire time. That's it. It's not white culture. It's white control.
Hey, it be weird because when you look at the whole world, like in general, like, and I'm not just saying people, I'm talking about animals, insects, everything in general. You have certain fungi that play games on insects to make the insect eat them so they can be inside the insect and actually control the insect so the insect can climb up to the top of a bush, be able to get eaten by another animal, and then that's how they basically reprocreate. That's how they, keep on, coming back. And I was thinking about this. It's like, what if, I'm not saying this is true. What if that is a game some of us play as a race of people? Like, you think we unintelligent, right? You think we not smart. So you take us in and cause you gotta understand, black people been around for forever. Like, we're not going nowhere. Let's get that damn clear. But what if a part of us will let ourselves be captured and taken in, and then some of us might die and might not survive the whole routine of what we're doing, and then we just take over that place. And like, we literally consume that place, and then that place becomes ours. Like, we had to lose some people on the way, on the journey. It's almost like war. But you didn't know, like, the ones that you abducted or that you took, they was kings, queens. These were like, some of the toughest people on the planet. No matter what they went through, they always came back, and they came back tenfold stronger, better. You feel me? And it's like, I'm just saying, that would be crazy.
For the first time in British history in 2023, Mohammed became the most popular name for newborns. And this reflects one of the greatest fears of the people behind me, the idea of the great replacement, popularized by people like Tommy Robinson and others, the idea that whites are slowly being replaced. They point to cities like London, Leeds, Birmingham, where the majority now are those who are considered ethnic minorities. But this is only part of the story. They also look at small boat arrivals of asylum seekers coming into the country through irregular routes. But if we're talking about the 200,000 asylum seekers or people who've come from small boats in the last couple of years, that makes up 0.2% of the population. So why is it such a big issue? Well, part of it is the deprivation that you see in the UK. We know that child poverty has reached record levels not seen for about 20 to 25 years, according to Child Poverty Action Group. And it's also about culture. It's about the economic conditions that see pubs and hospitality businesses closing on a regular basis, where people are unable to recreate what they've seen. But if we want to talk about the real facts about whether or not people are actually being replaced, then we have to talk about the roots of this idea of umvolkung, of race inversion linked to Nazi ideology. You'd have to speak about the fact that the fastest growing ethnic group in the UK is mixed race. And it's only if you see race as a discrete category, not something that blends or blurs, that's the only way that you get to that particular conclusion. In reality, human beings share 99% of the same DNA. We're all from the same human race, human family. We all bleed blood. We all have hopes and dreams. We will all die at the end of the day. And many people are wondering if this is the hill to die on, especially when there are so many big problems in the UK. When you have just 50 families, according to the Equality Trust, that control about 50% of the wealth. They control £500 billion worth of wealth, the same as 33 million people. But what do you think? Let us know your thoughts down below. Follow Novo for more, and you can support our work.
I think things evolve and change, whether it's people, whether it's places. Like, I think that's just a part of it. How it does it, I don't know. I'm just saying, but it happens. It's been happening forever. That's what I don't get. It's like, all these things been always happening forever, and then it happens in our time, and we think it's new. It's like it's new to reality. No, none of this shit is new. It happened before.
Hearing some white people talk about this whole great replacement thing that brown people...
If the white replacement theory is true, then who's pushing it? Because white people control the world, and they have created systems and put things into place to make sure that they reap all of the benefits. And Jewish people are also part of the white people generally, so why would they be doing anything to erase themselves from culture? And also, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would the majority white people want to erase white people? It literally has it makes no logical sense in reality.
Because all the poor white people, see, all the rich white people, I know what they doing. They building something over there across the ice wall in Antarctica. They building places on the moon, and they already started populating that. but you know, only rich people. Only rich people can get there and go there. You know, like the video my son just did on here, and like I was watching it on the movie Idiocracy, and like they was talking about, like, you know, people that were rich were the only ones that could actually, you know, get the hair transplant, and it's like now, you know, it's open to everybody, but it was a time to where only rich people could get it. You know, they had the money to afford it. And now it's like being done everywhere. But I'm like going, what if they did? They probably built a place across the ice wall and they all going over there and we don't know about it. You know, the poor people don't know, you know, because that, you know, they clone themselves. They make a clone of themselves and they leave it over here and then they go over there. You feel me? And be away from everybody. Cause I ain't gonna lie, nowadays I look at it like the ones in power, they don't care about skin color or none of that. They care about power and money. And I don't think they care about not the money we talking about. Cause I don't think they touch our money. Like, yeah, it's just like that shit is filthy. How many hands it's been in? I'm not touching that. You know, why would I want to touch money? It didn't went through so many hands. You don't know what kind of diseases, what is carrying on it. Like, we don't touch that. You know, they ready to enslave everybody. Period. It don't matter who you are, because everybody, like right now, homelessness. That shit don't got no color on it. It just doesn't. All these things don't have no color, but we steady put color on it and make it a race thing. When those things, they're named what they are for a reason, and they don't really have no color on it because it's happening to every race, every type of people. I'm telling you, it messed me up when I seen a homeless Indian man. I said, "What the hell?" That messed me all the way up. I said, "Yeah, I seen a homeless Chinese dude." I said, "Hey," I said, "Wait, things is changing." You go around, you see a hell of homeless white people, and it's like, who's looking out for them? Yeah, you know, they don't care about nobody no more. It's like they care less of what we doing and what we going through. Let us sit here and fight over the scraps, you know, while they live their lives. There's always have been people with power and people without power, without not race. Yeah.
The white replacement theory is true, then
London was 95% white in the 1920s. It is now 29% white.
I never
But that's
listened
just a
to
lie.
Tucker.
According to the 2021 census, London has a 53.8% white population, whom 36.8% are white British. So overall, London is still majority white. And white British people still make up the majority of the population in London, as 20% are Asian, 13.5% of London's population is black, other ethnic populations make up 6.3%, and 5.7% are mixed or multi-ethnic groups. And part of that mixed population are white British people mixing with other ethnic groups. And that wasn't even like
They don't say the white people is mixed too.
main issue with this. The main issue that I had is a couple of sentences later in the same interview, Charlie Kirk says that it's an ethnic cleansing. No joke. Take a look at this.
I thought we're against mass replace. That's ethnic cleansing, isn't it? Well, it's literally.
Which again is another lie because it wouldn't classify it as an ethnic cleansing. As according to the definition of ethnic cleansing, it is the mass expulsion or unaliving of members of one ethnic group or religious group in an area by those or another. White British people aren't being ethnically cleansed from London. The reason as to why the white British population in London is declining are two main factors. Number one being the ridiculous housing crisis. The cost of a house and the cost of living in London is exponentially unaffordable to the average Londoner. So a lot of native Londoners are moving out for more affordable housing. Not just white British people, mixed, Asian, everybody. They're moving out for more affordable living costs. And reason number two, there is a decline in birth rate of white British people in the UK as a whole. In 2021 alone, it was 74%. And in 2023, it has declined to 55% according to the Office for National Statistics. The quality of life in London for any Londoner has dramatically decreased. Not just in the terms of affordability, but the actual overall living experience. Like, you're going around and you're working every single day, you're not getting no days off, and there's nowhere to go when you are on your day off. A lot of people, especially young people, are moving away from London to other cities and even sometimes to other countries in order to get a better quality of life, more affordable living standards. So it's very harmful and damaging when people like Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson go online and keep pushing this, narrative of our ethnic cleansing, where it's not true. As we've already discussed, unaffordable housing prices, declining birth rates, and a worse quality of life all contribute as to why there are less and less white British people living in London. So please, guys, let's just show some damn respect in the comment section, especially.
London was...
I'm going to tell you why the great replacement theory just falls apart. Because if you've been online at all, you probably heard this claim that white people are being replaced on purpose, that immigration birth rates and diversity are part of a secret plan to erase white people. That claim isn't just wrong, it's propaganda, and it's dangerous. So here's the argument as it's usually presented. They say that white populations are declining. They say that the government is importing immigrants to replace them. They say that this is a form of genocide just done quietly through demographics instead of violence. That's the claim. Now, let's slow it down and look at what the data actually says. First, demographic change is not extermination. In the United States and other developed countries, population shifts are driven by three boring factors. People are living longer, people having fewer children, immigration fuels labor, and population gaps. That's not a plot. That's what happens in every industrialized society. Japan, Germany, Italy, South Korea, including countries where there's absolutely no immigration. Second, there's no replacement policy. There's no law. There's no executive order. There's no government document anywhere that says replace white people. Immigration policy is debated openly in Congress. You can disagree with it, but that's politics. But disagreement is not evidence of genocide. Third, the numbers just do not support extinction claims. White Americans are not disappearing. They still remain the largest demographic group in the country. So what is changing is just the share of the population because other groups are growing just as much. So that's not replacement, that's just math. So why does this theory spread? Because it taps into fear and grievance. It basically tells people your struggles aren't economic or political, they are racial. You didn't lose opportunity, someone stole it. You're under attack and someone is to blame. And here's the key move, right? Instead of explaining complex systems like wages and housing and healthcare and globalization, they offer one single enemy. That's how propaganda works. It turns confusion into certainty and fear into loyalty. Here's the truth. Demographic change is normal. Diversity is not extermination, and immigration debates are policy disagreements, not secret ethnic warfare. Societies change. They always have, and change does not equal genocide. If you want the sources and the data and the full breakdown of how this myth was created and why it keeps spreading, follow BFM Breakdown on Substack. We don't argue with propaganda. We break it down. I'm going to tell you why the great replacement...
That was a good breakdown.
Yeah, sure, the Great Replacement is just a theory, right? It just happens to be true that in every single country that has European ancestry is being completely demographically changed. It's just a coincidence.
Here's what I don't get about all this racist drivel coming from white supremacists. Out there talking about the Great Replacement theory, and that's why you're having all these kids. What are you so afraid of? Let's say decades down the line, white folks become the minority in the USA. Why are you afraid of that? Is it because you would lose the unchecked power to harm black and brown communities? I think that's part of it, but I think it's deeper too. White folks have been the majority in this country for a very long time. And white folks have used that power and that majority to make laws and push policies that are racist in nature and set up systems that thrive on racism. What you're afraid of is that if the demographics change, the communities that you've harmed are going to turn around and do the same to you, even though you'll deny it's happening now to them. Because the true reality is that you're racist as hell, and you like to see black and brown communities suffer. Makes you feel superior. And if that identity is taken away from you demographically, Well, son, you've got to step your game up and actually earn things. Someone whose job is just laying on their back and making babies, that's not going to fly. Way to go.
That's how you trying to change it. You just start you have 5 kids and be like, okay, I did my part.
We're so far from a white minority. It's insane. Yeah. But there's this thought, it's coming. I can see it. No, it's not. It's never coming. Because the moment white people feel like they're going to be at the bottom, they're going to be at the top again.
They'll change the rules.
They're going to be at the top. And I need everybody else to understand that too. There's never going to be a time where they're at the bottom. They're not doing it again. They're not doing. I don't know what's in their books.
We already came from those caves.
Yeah,
one time.
They're not doing it again. I promise you, they're never. And why don't people understand? Like when you said that white people only make white people. They don't really make a spectrum of people like that. So they can be erased if everybody comes together.
That's true.
And make a bunch of Alejandros.
Yeah.
Just start fucking white women.
Yeah.
Take over.
So my thing is, why would I fault them in having pride in who they are? I think every culture of people, every group of people should have pride in who they are. Not necessarily.
You can't put that word behind white.
I know. You can't.
Power nor pride.
You see what I'm saying?
Word.
And that's but they can have pride if they would just admit to the atrocities and just say, hey man, we just not going back. Like, hey, we can live here in harmony, but the moment we feel like we going back, it's up for everybody. But they won't say it. And you can even be proud, like white people conquered, they are the actual minority in the world, population wise. And they dominated through brute force. Now these things are atrocious, the things that were done. But if you have a warlike mentality where you can appreciate that type of thing, then if someone has pride in it, then I mean they have pride in it. I don't think that I'm proud of the creativity of black people and like in hip hop, the creation of hip hop. Hip hop is terrible right now, but that doesn't change my pride. And hip hop is actually hurting my community. We're so far from a white minority.
The other day, a white supremacist found himself on the wrong side of TikTok and spent some time flopping around in my comments, and I want to talk about it for a sec. Now, I'm a leftist. I'm also the parent of 4 kids, and I talk a lot about how anti-child American society is. How our work for liberation must include liberation for children. And so I do spend some time critiquing talking points from the left that are dog whistles to white supremacy and eugenics when folks don't even realize it. And that includes antinatalism, the belief that nobody should be allowed to reproduce. When we know statistically the folks around the world who are reproducing are non-white. We know that white people are having below replacement numbers of offspring. And we know that brown and black people are continuing to reproduce at a higher rate. My 16-year-old in one of his college classes this last term was actually studying this because he was learning about population dynamics. And I very much appreciated his professor being like, y'all, the overpopulation myth is a eugenicist myth. Yes, thank you for saying that, because it's true. And Hal and I had lots of good conversations about how when we talk about which populations of human beings are reproducing, which ones have growing populations, that we are conscious that white supremacy does not seep into that conversation. Because it very easily can tip over into something called the Great Replacement Theory, which is a white supremacist talking point. And here is where this white supremacist came into my comments. He said, white people are being replaced. Do you not have eyes? Why does everyone deny a mathematical fact? So here's the thing, babe. I don't deny it. You only have to look at the demographics around the world of who is having babies and how many babies they're having. As I said, white people around the world, we are not reproducing above replacement. We're having fewer than 2 babies per couple. I get it, I'm an outlier, I have 4 kids. But you look at a lot of other countries in Africa and Asia, and folks are having 3, 4, 5, 6 babies. They have lower life expectancy, but those folks are still reaching reproductive age and able to have babies of their own. So those populations are growing rapidly. Those are also populations that struggle with a lot of poverty. But even here in America, the reason that our population as a nation is not declining is because non-white people are having babies and because of immigration. It's not because white people are at replacement. We're not. But I'm not scared of that reality. I'm not scared to live in a world where white people are the minority. I'm not scared to live in a country where white people will eventually become the minority. But white supremacists are terrified of it. We're not saying that we're seeing a shift in population. We're not saying that some ethnic groups and nationalities are reproducing at a higher rate than others, because they are. But that's not a scary fact for those of us that are not racist. That's not a scary fact for anybody except white supremacists who live in a little insular bubble that is all about fear. Right. They're terrified of losing their power. There's nothing wrong with the world becoming less white. There's nothing wrong with the world becoming less white. And in fact, we're seeing a lot more folks who are mixed race as we are much more of a global and well-traveled society. Nothing wrong with that. The changing demographics of the American population are only scary if you're a racist. The fact that we as a human population around the world are becoming less white is only scary if you're a racist. The other day, a white supremacist.
I had 3 kids. I guess I overachieved, but they all biracial. Oh, wow. You ain't never been to a country that's not a white majority. My cats have their own sons. What the hell? He said, hell, I'm gay and have a son. What the hell? Oh, my God, man. Just a lie coming to light, but like they said, they were majority, but always been the minority and take instead of build, create. My son as well, he was a friend. He was a friend I knew that a decade younger and ended up losing his home. So I took him in. Kind of weird that former friend is my son now, but I lift my own up. That's dope, bro. That's dope. Like when we kind of do that, when we take kids that like it was a time where we did do that. We like kind of looked out for all kids. It didn't matter who kids it was. Any kid was just our kid if something was going on. Those times have changed. It's not the same. Like we don't look at all kids as being kids. Like depending on who they are. Like that be the scary part because then things just can happen to your kids nowadays just dealing with different people. They don't be looked at as kids depending on their race or the color of their skin at times. And it goes both ways. That shit is kind of scary. It's not the same. Shit changed, bro.
I don't see what the issue is with white people getting replaced in this country. Now, I say this as someone whose parents are immigrants. I grew up in this country. I was born in this country. I consider myself British. I work a full 9 to 5. I pay my taxes. And, I always see this conspiracy being peddled about great replacement and all these other things. I just don't see what the issue is with it. Even though it's not true, but let's say for some hypothetical reason it is. What is the problem with the country being, I don't know, much more diverse in the sense that the proportion of minority people is much bigger than you would expect it to be? Like, what is the problem with that? And before all of these reform guys say, oh my God, they don't have British values, what do you define as British values, right? What even is British values nowadays? What, going to the pub, having an Indian or a Chinese takeaway, watching football made on the TV imported from Japan? Like, what's up with that? These same guys will make the same argument about how we're a Christian nation, even though if you go to a church on a Sunday, most of the people going to the church on a Sunday are really old people. You don't see people around my age or, middle-aged people actually going to church because people within this country, especially those who identify as Christian, don't actually practice their religion. Not to mention, Christianity is literally an imported religion in that the people prior to Christianity were Celtic, right? And Christianity started off as a religion in the Middle East, and then it's made its way into Europe and then into the UK. So let's not act like Christianity is native to the UK when it's not. I don't see.
I don't like when people try to use God to make themselves right. Like I don't like that because as soon as you just throw God in there, it makes you right because God said this and then wait, hold on, if you being racist or you not liking another people because of who they are, what they are, anything, how can you even bring God into a conversation? Like you can't. You can't, because like we know, we say, oh well, God forgives all. So it's like, if that's the case, then why do people bring it up in order to make themselves right about like things that they're saying? I never could understand that. That's why, I don't know. People is weird.
Have you ever heard people talk about the Great Replacement? Yeah, apparently brown people are replacing white people. Which is interesting because historically, white people didn't fear replacement. They franchised it. Let's start with North America. Millions of indigenous people already living there. Then
Waiting for somebody
Europeans
to get to that.
and they're like, nice place. We'll take it. Disease, land theft, massacres, entire nations, tribes gone. That's not immigration. That's a full system update. Australia. The British show up and they go, no one's here. There are people literally standing there. Terra nullius. That's what they said. Translation, if we ignore them hard enough, then they don't exist. And they're brown anyway. Fuck them. Tasmania, almost wiped out. South Africa, white settlers didn't just move in. They hit Control-Alt-Delete on basic human rights. And under apartheid, of course, black people in a black majority country, they needed permission just to exist properly. That's not just replacement. That's domination with paperwork. And then there's this big one, the British Empire. Didn't just take land. Oh no. They said, do you know what you need, chappies? Our language, our laws, our education system. And just for fun, our religion. Congratulations, you're Christian now. India, Africa, the Caribbean, entire cultures didn't just change, they got a British accent. So when people today panic and say, we're being replaced, you have to ask, replaced or experiencing history in reverse? Because countries like the USA, Canada, Australia, they don't just have a history of replacement, they are the sequel. So maybe this isn't about fear. Maybe it's about finally reading the first chapter. Plot twist. History remembers everything.
Exactly.
Are white people being replaced in the UK?
So what? So what? Wait, so what? Nobody's white. Who's white? Everybody's got a grandparent or a great-great-grandparent or a great-great-great-great-great-grandparent that came from somewhere else. So if we want to insist that only white people can come here, who are they? Like, have you gone too far by the time you get to Russia? Like, do we want Russians? Just because you're born in a country, should you be destined to live your life out in, I don't know, poverty or injustice? Like, I don't believe that you should be denied opportunity because of the country you were born in. I think immigration is vital because without it you become a enclosed, closed-minded, shut down, culturally poor environment.
Like, it's weird because you would think that, with these countries and we see them as, poor or whatever, we would like be helping them more. Like, we would be helping them get to where they think we are. Like, why not? Like, okay, no, it's not like, okay, we're not going to help you build your shit up. We're going to give the money to the ones that are there that already got money and then bring people over here to help continue to build this up. I don't get it.
Damage done during imperial empire colonialism could and should have a tranche of immigrants who, if they want to come here, hell yeah, they should come here.
Are white people being replaced in the UK?
Yeah, the black dude asked that.
Replacement of the white man in the workforce. Let's talk about this. So my brother here said that the white man, be it from California to the states of the Midwest, is being replaced at large.
He look different.
Everywhere he goes, he's seeing.
Hey Samuel, that's funny, hilarious, bro.
Or
that's so true.
Conrad's Burgers. I don't even know if Conrad's a white name. And he's
don't
way more
believe
taquerias that we just talk.
Hey, that is so true. I'm this, I'm that. So I hate you since you different. We look different. Like, you don't believe what I believe. So yeah, You know, I don't like you. You shouldn't be here. You know, like, what the hell?
Look,
That's
they
what
say
we
it
doing.
just popping up out of nowhere. This is a sign that Mexicans at large are replacing white people in the workforce. So a few things to that.
Crap job.
I do think.
Man, I need to start grabbing these comments. He said, look, if somebody wants my crap job, they can have it.
On the bottom tier and the top tier, be it working class, be it upper middle class, I do indeed think that white people are being replaced as well as black people, and I do think that is solely our fucking fault on both ends, and I will explain.
Yeah,
See,
explain yourself.
Trump, like a lot of y'all, when we have this conversation about replacement in the workforce, they always talk about the most menial labor jobs. I don't pay attention to that. I pay attention to the shit that pays the most. I'm talking about being a computer engineer, being a doctor, etc., etc. We can't keep getting upset that in America we simply are raising a lot of fucking lazy kids. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm talking about the kids in my generation, the niggas in my generation. These people are just fucking lazy. Like, I ain't gonna hold. It blows my mind that when you go, I keep using California as an example because I live here. That the highest paying jobs, doctors, nurses, computer engineers, a lot of the time when you come here, and to me it feels like the overwhelming majority are people who came from different countries. This is a reason why a lot of Indians and Pakistanis who come here, they don't have a hard time getting here as much as somebody who might come here from Mexico or Guatemala, because for those who do not know, it is a lot easier to come to America if you already have a degree that's like a engineering, STEM kind of based degree. It is a lot easier, particularly if you already got employed. A lot of people come. I'm gonna give you an example. I've met a lot of people. We'll take India out of it. I know a lot of. Let me say a lot. But I know a few people who came here from Mexico. I don't want to put their business out there, but they came here with engineering degrees. They came here employed by a company that already has a satellite, or they had a satellite company in Mexico, and they came here and got employed by them. It's a real thing. So bringing all this up to say this. I can only get mad so many times. I can only get so mad if you have all these opportunities for employment that our own kids, our own native-born Americans are not taking advantage of. I'm talking about all tiers, be it the top tier, be it the bottom tier. I've never heard somebody say, listen, unless you're a white dude who's from maybe, let's say, for example, Amador County, goddamn, one of the more remote counties of Arkansas or somewhere like that, you ain't cherry picking. You ain't outside cherry picking. You ain't going out there cherry picking, but a lot of migrants will have an issue with that. Now, the lazy migrants, get the fuck up out of here. Now, the lazy...
Wow. I be feeling, you know what I feel like it be sometimes? Have you ever seen an anthill and you go out there and you throw water on the anthill and all the ants start scattering and going crazy? But before then, they was just chilling. They was working. They was going about their way, going out, picking up food, bringing it back to the colony, you know, and then you go and you disrupt them, you know, and you knock something over, and then it make them all scatter and start, you know, they become just crazy. And I feel like that's what they do to us. Like, we'll all be cool, kumbaya, just doing our things, and they'll just throw something in there to make everybody start going against each other and fighting each other. It's like, it don't matter. Let's just put this out there, you know, people just run with it.
It seems harder and harder to ignore that the echoes of replacement theory and other racially motivated views are increasingly coming out into the open.
In a few years, we're going to be a majority brown country. White people will not be the majority in the country anymore.
This will be the first generation ever in American history in which whites will be a minority of the generation at some point.
As of 2007, every year, babies being born in this country, whites now are the minority.
In 2044, everyone is going to be a minority.
As the demographics change, as white people become the minority in the country, which is coming.
Demographics is destiny. Demographics is destiny.
Demographics is destiny, right? The country is changing.
I've been saying it here. Other people have been saying it here for
Damn, the propaganda is real. They will put that,
years now, even before Donald Trump. The demographics is destiny.
The white population is declining for the first time in history in America, while the number of multiracial Americans have more than doubled.
So we live in a country where the demographics are changing. It's becoming less white.
Wow.
Yeah, correct. Okay. You'll be announcing that we're calling the 38 electoral votes of Texas for the Democratic nominee for president. It's changing. It's going to become a purple state and then a blue state because of the demographics, because of the population growth.
The growth in Texas has been almost entirely driven by non-white population growth, mostly by Hispanic and Latino population growth.
The idea that
whites will not be the majority, I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and progress of our country in many different ways.
The white population is declining. It was always on the upswing. So that speaks to the beautiful diversity of America. It speaks to how that population the demographics will weigh in politically.
Now, I believe anybody who acts as a replacement is to blame, not for this particular crime, but it's for no purpose. No purpose.
Who's responsible for pushing? Who's pushing the idea? Who's speaking of this idea more often than not? It's the Democrats. And their ideology and the way that they function is that they want to replace America. It's not just about white, because there are white people, black people, Hispanic, Asian, you go down the list, Native people who are conservative, who love this country, who understand that we live in the greatest country on planet Earth, the greatest country to ever exist on this side of heaven. But they want to replace that. How do they replace it? By making the country more what? Brown. What do they mean by brown? More immigrants. People in Europe, by and large, are in Europe. They have their own ideologies. They have their own country, and they're doing their thing. But there's people that they can recruit from around the world that come from third world countries and come from places that are desolate that will die to be here. They take them, they bring them here, they manipulate them, they take their votes, and they do nothing for them for generations to come. They want more and more people that they can brainwash, that they can cause to do the things that they want them to do, whether it's voting or whatever else. Now, I want to make this very clear, because people don't want to keep it real, but I'm going to keep it real for you. And this may hurt some people's feelings. But Democrats, by and large, create monsters to a certain degree, like this individual in Buffalo. Now, he pulled a trigger. He's 100% responsible for his actions. But I think Democrats really cause people to be very upset and angry at their attempt to do things in a more prominent racial manner. They're not believing in America. They don't want nothing to do with America. They want us to be divided. They want us to hate each other. And the way that they're pushing immigration is going to do that. And when they continue to talk about these subject matters, they push people into this cult where they hyper-focus on race. And the cult meaning these deranged people like the gentleman in Buffalo. They push people into a cult, and they begin to isolate themselves and look at our world based on racial issues and not other issues. If you eliminate it, just say, I'm not going to say eliminating. If you look at our country, our constitutional republic, how great we are and how great we have been for a while, if you cut down the demographics of voting, you say white men who are straight and conservative, that demographic of vote is the only thing that's keeping this country where it's at. If you cut down the demographic of vote, it's the only reason. If you isolate other groups, you'll see that we will go far left. If you just isolate women, isolate white women, black women, they all vote disproportionately left. You isolate black men, black women, by and large, disproportionately voting left. Now, people like myself, I don't care nothing about race, it's about ideology. America is a concept, it's an idea, it's not a race. Democrats see it as a race. They break up these different groups and they say, how do we win? We attack the white man who's a straight conservative. We'll attack him, we'll replace him with these other groups, and therefore we have the leverage in voting.
It seems harder and harder to...
The Democrats attract and retain illegal immigrants by essentially paying them to come here and then turning them into voters.
Yes.
So this is why the Democrats are so upset about the situation, because they're losing. If we turn off this gigantic money magnet for illegal immigrants, then they will leave and they'll lose voters.
Just so we're clear, Elon is citing the Great Replacement Theory, the false, dangerous conspiracy theory about how white people in this country are being replaced with non-white people. It's inspired many instances of white nationalist violence. And in the Great Replacement Theory, the people orchestrating the replacement are usually Jews, you know, the money magnet. These lies and rhetoric led to the murders of Jews, immigrants, and people of color in Pittsburgh, El Paso, Buffalo, and more. Great Replacement Theory targets all of our safety at once. So if the Nazi salute wasn't obvious enough, remember that this is the rhetoric that Elon and the MAGA movement promote all the time to spread fear and division. This is what they stand for. That's why when they say they're doing things for Jewish safety, we're not fooled. They want to cynically use our fear to move their cruel agenda. Deporting people, attacking schools, targeting free speech, all falsely in our name. But luckily they keep reminding us who they really are.
They're going to continue to do that.
A lot of white people believe that they're being replaced by black and brown people in the United States. This is known as the Great Replacement Theory. The underlying fear is that white people will end up being treated like black and brown people have ultimately been treated historically. And that's just not true. That's not who we are. If we wanted revenge, we would have gotten that 100 years ago. What I want is for those white people that believe in this theory to understand that whiteness can exist without dominance in this nation. The hallmark of whiteness does not have to be being on top. And I mean, think about it. Would it be so bad if black and brown people ran things on an equal level? Black and brown people aren't trying to replace you. We're just trying to exist. That's all. Ultimately, whiteness seems like a burden. It seems like something that you have to fulfill instead of something that you actually are naturally. Your birthright isn't to dominate or be number one. Your birthright is to exist and have a good time. What happened to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? This is a natural progression. Okay, minorities are becoming a larger and larger part of the United States. I mean, just let it happen. We're not gonna bite. A lot of white people believe.
Yeah, they like people just don't want to lose control. That control that they already have. It's crazy because, like, when you think about it, how many years you've been. Your people have been put on a pedestal to look better than everybody else, and then everybody start going, "Hey, man, wait, these motherfuckers ain't better than us. We all the same." So, some of us is better than them. Some of them is better than us. I don't know. It's like it throw people off, man. They scared. Okay, they fucking scared.
White Replacement Theory Part 2. Why are you guys, you always talk about being replaced, but it seems like you guys turn around and try to replace everything else that everybody else has already done or already has. Case in point, our skin color. You talk about our skin color so bad, but yet and still, I don't see none but y'all laying up in the sun, trying your best, risking skin cancer to look like this.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
I asked a white woman one day. When a white woman asked me, I was laying in the sun. She asked, "Well, you're already a nice brown color. Why are you laying in the sun?" I said, "Oh, because it's warm and it's beautiful, you know, and I look gorgeous." But here's the question: why do you lay in the sun? She said, "Oh, because you know you get this bronze color." She called it bronze. No, chick, it's brown. You get this bronze color, and with the blonde hair, it looks so good. I said, "Oh, so you want to look like me, but you want the same benefits of you." Boop, shut you up. She had to, I'm sure. So then, you know, back in the early 1900s and before, we can always go into slavery, you know, called us niggers and stuff like that. You trying to demean us because of the way that we look, our lips, our you know, did you know that we was considered whores because of our backsides being so big, and they had never seen anything like that before? You know that, and did you realize that? Yeah. Do your research. Anything that I tell you, you are free to go and do your research on. All right. Now, you know, we had these old nasty minstrel shows and whatnot with us, with all these big lips and bugged eyes and you remember that? Y'all folks did that. But the truth of the matter is, now y'all going around here, I saw this one white woman take the skin from behind her ears, honey. It was on a documentary, and she tried to have the doctor make her some lips. Girl, that was just the most horrendous, awful look at that. I said, "Good day in the morning, what is that?" Now you're going around getting all these damn shots in y'all lips and praising Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian got so much shit stuffed in her ass. Yeah, you better look at them early videos. That broad didn't have that. But you talked about us with our butts and stuff, but now y'all going around here getting BBLs and shots and going to Mexico and getting that shit in your ass. Now, black women are doing it too, and I don't understand that because y'all already got it. Y'all confused. Stop following these white folks. Stop doing that. All right? So you going around and you're doing everything, and then I saw this white advertisement with these white women with these Afro puffs on top of their head. Stop it, I say. You cannot have the culture. We won't let you in. Period. You are not invited to the cookout. Now you can have your own group, and we have our own group, and we come together in unison regarding what we all want, but not just coming in. Can't have.
They said they put peas in the potato salad and mustard. I want no mustard in the damn potato. Who did that?
Okay, so this was sent to me yesterday. It was taken on Port Road in Western Adelaide. I mean, they're not even hiding it anymore. They're not even hiding the replacement of Australians in their own country anymore. What happens when there is more foreigners in our police force than Australians? What happens when there is more foreigners in our army than Australians? What happens when the entire emergency services is overrun by foreigners and not Australians? What happens then? What happens to Australians in their own country?
Hey, it's wild because, you know, they'll be saying this, but it's like, you didn't start that. It was people there before you got there. So what happened to those people?
What happens when Australians become the minority in our own country? I mean, they're not even hiding their plan anymore. Right? They are printing billions and importing tax cattle. That's what they're doing. Right? And if you look at a few UN documents like replacement migration, I mean, everything seems to be lining up. The Western world is being flooded with replacement migration. There's an actual document called that. Right? It's everyone that's sitting on the fence about this, right? It's everyone that's a bit quiet about it. All them conservatives out there, they don't really seem to say too much about the demographic replacement of Australians in our own country. Let me ask you this question, all right? If you're a cricket fan, what do you want to see in 20 years? Do you want to see Australians playing Indians? Or do you want to see Indians in Australia playing the Indians? Because I'm telling you right now, that's where we are headed. That's where...
I seen the white dude say something about that. I think it was the soccer team. It's like, wait, hold on. It's hella brown people on the soccer team. Like, what happened to all the white dudes? I don't know. Maybe they just wasn't good enough. Like, maybe they didn't have it.
Where we are headed if we don't shut the gate. That's where we are headed if we don't deport the illegals and criminals. That's where we are headed if we don't start a remigration.
Man, sometimes I can't even listen to this. These people be so full of it.
Joe Biden's 5 million illegal aliens are on the verge of replacing you, replacing your jobs and replacing your kids in school. And coming from all over the world, they're also replacing your culture. And that's not great for America.
This is a country that was built by immigrants, a country that is enriched by immigrants, a country that relies on immigrants to provide food through the agriculture industry, to do the farming that white Americans refuse to do because it's incredibly difficult work. I'm sorry, I would rather have, productive members of society in America as opposed to lazy, racist, disgusting, pathetic people like Marjorie Greene spouting her mouth left and right as if that's a job worth protecting.
The racist white Republicans are going wild with their white replacement theory, great replacement theory nonsense, claiming that we can't sustain welcoming immigrants to this country because it will destroy our culture. The culture, like what? What culture are we talking about? The culture of a country that was literally founded by immigrants on stolen land, that then profited from the unpaid labor of brown people to build white wealth? I mean, even setting all of that history aside, literally what is the culture of the white American? I have 4 daughters in school, and we'll get these papers from their teachers about
as my white ass lights a joint. Yeah. I remember them days. Dang, I remember we used to blow through the whole live. We used to smoke blunts through the whole live. Now it's like, I don't know.
They want to recognize everyone's traditions, and it'll say things like, oh, what is a holiday tradition that you have? Or a special tradition that you have in your family or something that's unique to your culture, so they can share different experiences in the class. And every single time I'm stumped, I'm like, what is our culture? McDonald's? Super boring food? Hot dogs? Apple pie? Baseball? What is the culture that these white racists are trying to preserve? You know what it is.
You know what it is.
Hey, white people. Karma's coming. It's inevitable. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Just accept it.
Yeah. Wow, that's trippy. When you see stuff like this, that is like, when you see stuff like this, it's like, dang, that's what it was. Like, think about living in those times. That's just horrific. Dang, that's horrific, man. And then having to, like, not even having a bed to sleep on while this is trying to heal. And then before it heals, you get some more lashes on top of those. And then when the first ones heal, the other ones ain't even healed, and then you get some more on top of that. That shit is crazy, man. Joshua.
They are becoming the minority. Shout out to Brandon, who we just interviewed, where he was talking about we're coming up on the minority majority, where in a couple years, in the first time in history, minorities are going to be the majority, right? By 2040. They know this. Their birth rates are dropping. So now what they got to do, start eliminating us from being seen so we don't realize we got the motherfucking numbers. That's what's really going on.
Remember when Trump slid that new bill where if you start having babies, I'm going to throw you $1,000. Come on now, to keep popping white babies out.
Exactly. You see Elon Musk using Twitter and X to push that agenda too. If you follow him, well, you got to follow him because if you got X, he makes you follow him. You can see him talking about the birth rates. They are afraid of going extinct because at the birth rates that they have, they're going to be extinct.
And that, like, if you think about it, that's just white people not sleeping with white people. They're not going extinct. They're mixing in because, you know, white women, white dudes is having kids by other races. So they're not going extinct. Nothing is going extinct. It's just kind of changing over. It's, what's the Darwin theory shit? It's evolving. That's all. It's just evolving. That's just what the world does. That's what life does.
Let's talk about this white replacement theory that I've been seeing going around ever since this Buffalo shooting. Basically, Fox News and Republicans putting fear in white people that are Republicans and have the same views, aka upholding white supremacy, and basically putting fear into them and saying that POCs and other people are trying to replace white people as the majority. Of course, this is not true. Time magazine said by 2023 that mixed people will become the majority. Clearly, Time magazine wasn't all correct because mixed people aren't the majority at this point in time. So the Buffalo shooter used that theory that he coined from Fox News and Tucker Carlson to justify killing black people. He searched zip codes that were majority of black communities. This is so scary. White terrorism is free and alive. And guess what? They're allowed to get away with this. I am so sick of this. This is never going to end. I feel like this is just the beginning. Now, what I will say is more people are catching on to this and realizing this. But how can we stop this? All I can say is please be safe out there. Be aware of your surroundings. That's all I can say. It's sad. We can't even go to the grocery store without being gunned down. I do not want to be seen at all. Shame on Fox News, Tucker Carlson. You guys have blood on your hands. 4chan has blood on their hands. I don't care what anybody says. 4chan is a group chat open for white supremacy and terrorists. So many mass shooters have been on 4chan planning their shootings. It's so crazy how black people and black things are so highly policed,
FBI
and
don't
how
know
it's the
about
total
that?
opposite when it comes to white terrorism or white supremacy. And I think that's why they do it. If you give somebody so much power and so much lenience, they're gonna see what's the most horrible thing I can get away with. It's sick to think about, right? But it makes sense. And it sucks and it's sad. Consequences need to happen.
People just scary in general. Like people just scary in general. Like, I'm gonna tell you, scary ain't got no race on it. It ain't got no color on it. Some people is just fucking scary, because they will destroy other people because of their beliefs, because of what they believe. And that shit right there alone right there is just scary. It's like, you don't believe what I believe? You not the color I am? And all these, and it's like, let's destroy them all, let's eradicate them, and it's like, why? Like, but I guess we as people just been that way for so long. It's crazy because, like, I always think about when you go to the first, the Bible, you go to the First Testament, and how God was telling them, would tell them, when you go in there and go into this place, I'm gonna give you this. What the fuck, bro? Me even saying this, it sound like the same thing today. Going to this land, right? And, the people of that land, they're not good people. Destroy them all. Don't keep nothing of theirs. Destroy all of them. And, that land is yours now. Just keep the women and girls that are of age. Everybody else, wipe them out. And this has been a theme that has went on forever, like all the way up to Hitler. I'm talking about, like Genghis Khan, the Vikings. Like, this has been a theme of people, like, doing horrendous things, bro. And that's the first thing they say. Is, in God we trust. God gave us power. God told us to do it. Yeah, and it's like, come on now, bro. If we believe man, this is why I don't think we're going to ever be right. We ain't never going to be right. It's impossible.
First time in American history, the number of white people went down. And white Americans will soon be a minority, and that's great.
Whites will not be the majority. I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and progress of our country.
We are going to be a white minority very, very soon.
Let's just talk about facts, okay? Globally, white people make about 11% of the world's population. That's already a minority on a global scale. Most of the world is Asian, African, South Asian, Middle Eastern, Indigenous, etc. That's just reality. So when I see people celebrate a demographic change like it's just a win over a group, I'm confused. Imagine if we were saying, oh, Asians are shrinking, that's great. And I don't think it would hit this hard if white people weren't already demonized today, and hear me out. They're saying progress requires guilt and an apology for something you never did. And we have come such a long way as a society, praise God. And a lot of people have put in real work to make things better. But when white kids grow up being told there's something wrong with them just for existing, that doesn't create understanding, that creates resentment. And that's how you push people from one side to another, towards figures like Nick Fuentes. The whole point of this was to be less dehumanization, not switching who gets it.
Oh, I don't get it. Because, like with us, like when we get pointed at, they always bring up, things that we went through as a people. Like, that's always been done. But I don't know, when you point at, other races and things that they did as a people, it's like, you reaching, and it's like, nah, come on,
People
son.
of European ancestry, or white people, make up roughly 8% of the global population. Take countries like Ireland or Scotland, where they have only 6 million people or 5 million people, respectively. And of that populace, only 4 or 5 million are actually native white Irish or Scottish. And now the main sources of immigration to these countries include India, which has 1.4 billion people, Pakistan, which has 240 million people, and Nigeria, which is 220 million people. Now, these countries obviously have populations that dwarf European nations. Yet the European people are demanded to share their tiny country with them and give them access to their better economies and all of their resources, which should be exclusively reserved for the people who inherited and created these Western societies. These non-white immigrants demand special social privileges, then they're labeled as minorities, which is a total distortion of reality given their global numbers. And anybody that defends this is either totally ignorant to the world around them or being subversive and actively trying to destroy the West. We are the global minority. People of European...
At a Nationals game, there was a group that went and had this big banner, and they dropped this banner at one of the game at a baseball game, and the banner was like, "White replacement, deport 100 million people now." Like, there's not 100 million people here who are undocumented. They're talking about deporting all brown people. At a Nationals game, there was a group,
and if you notice, it's like everybody is following that right there. Like all over the world right now, people are getting deported back to wherever they came from. Like, it's the weirdest thing. It's like everybody's following it. So it's not just something that's happening here. That's why I say a lot of these countries, they seem like they, going against each other, but they be kind of sort of working with each other in a way, because they start doing the same things for,
We are going to exterminate.
No, I ain't gonna listen to that one.
So for the white people that have anxiety when it comes to people of color, black people, or immigrants, thinking that there's a great replacement theory and all this stuff, do you understand where that comes from? Your own people, your own white ancestors created that anxiety in you because they treated everyone in this world like trash. So now you're scared that those people that they treated like trash are going to treat you like trash and widely get rid of your existence. But even in that, you still try to find a way to blame the black people, the people of color, and the immigrants for that anxiety. We don't want to replace you. We don't want to overpopulate to the point where you're no longer in existence. We don't have an agenda here. Your ancestors and your current living people have an agenda to get rid of us. So your anxiety comes from your own people creating that energy in the world to where they treated everyone like trash. Now you're scared that you're going to be treated like trash. Hey, you can't blame black people. You can't blame people of color. You can't blame immigrants for that anxiety. You caused that. Your people caused that. The only thing that people of color and black, I always say people of color and black people separately because there's a difference. So people of color and black people and immigrants are just trying to exist in the world. They're not trying to replace anyone. That's not in their nature to try to conquer and replace. We're just trying to live and exist and experience life. We're not trying to take over the world. And anyway, we are.
But in the middle of just trying to live and just exist, if you point out something wrong, yeah, you're a bad person. Just for pointing it out and saying, hey, wait, this is not right.
Global majority anyway. So if the replacement theory was true, you don't have that much weight in the game to be replaced or not replaced. You're not the population of the world. Other than the United States and Europe, you're just sprinkled about. Like in maybe Australia or something like that. You're just sprinkled about. Like you're not the majority on the planet. So yeah, that anxiety you have that people of color and black people and immigrants are replacing you and taking your jobs and all that comes from your own ancestors. They put that energy into the atmosphere, girl.
You're afraid of being marginalized, right? Welcome to what it feels like to be black.
You don't think white folks still dominating the world?
Charles Barkley.
We do dominate the world to an extent. Look at the boards of directors of most corporations, tons of white people and Jews. Yes. But every day we hear, oh, isn't this great? There's more diversity in this corporation. Don't we need more people of color in films and movies? Isn't this wonderful? What is the trajectory? Where is the arrow pointing? The arrow is pointing away from white power. In my lifetime, what's going to probably happen is that I am going to become a minority in the United States. But what do I want for my great-grandchildren? I do want them to live in a white society, a European empire.
You don't consider yourself a racist.
I would never say something like, I don't like black people. I mean, that's not what I'm about.
But you don't want me in your neighborhood.
Right. I mean,
You're afraid.
He's
What
gold.
the fuck, man? What the fuck is up with people, man? What the hell? Like that one lady said, when your grandkids or great-grandkids or great-great-grandkids here, you're not going to be here anymore. It's like, why don't we just, try to make the world a better place for all of our kids, like, over time? It's like, how is that hard to do? Why is that hard to do? Why is that hard for people to go, okay, I just want to make sure that the world is going to be a better place for everybody? Why is that so hard? Like what are we doing here?
Is to make more white people.
I don't get it, man. I don't fucking get it sometimes.
More rich white people. Name me an issue. Name me something he's trying to do. And it is related to ensuring that we keep a white majority in this country. He wants to take over Canada. 1,000%. It is because you will then gain all those white people in our population, and suddenly the white majority is preserved.
That video right there.
National abortion ban. We need those white babies.
How
Department of Education is no more. That's fine, because we only care about people who are rich enough to afford private school anyway. Those are those rich white babies. The motivation is coming from the fact that if things continue on the same trajectory, white America will be the minority by 2045. And that's all it's about. His goal is to make...
I don't think it really matters. But I'm white and I hate this white hate. It's sad. I don't know where it's white hate at, because nobody's hating anything. Like, we hate the ideas of each other at times, but it's not the hate of people. But all in all, I'm gonna have to end this video because I don't know what video I just played that flagged, something. It was detected in my video stream, and they're gonna cut the stream anyway. So I'm gonna cut this off, and then, I don't know. I'll come up with something else, and I'll be back after a while. But y'all have a good one. Make sure you like the video on the